Hey friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Ty and this is Reality Table Talk. I'm here to share my thoughts and opinions on the latest episodes of the reality shows we all love to watch. Now, my thoughts are my thoughts and the reviews I share are from my perspective, but I can guarantee that more than one of us is thinking the same thing while we're watching these shows. If you're here for the first time, welcome to my table. If you're a return viewer, thank you for joining me again. I'd love to engage with each and every one of you, so please don't forget to comment below. And if you dig this video, like, share, and subscribe. And with that said, pull up a seat, join me at the table, and let's get into this review. All right, y'all. So I am back with another review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 3. And I don't know if I missed the taglines in the previous episodes. This is the first time that I'm actually seeing them. And y'all, they fell a little bit flat to me. And I know that most of the cast is new or newly holding a peach, but the way we're just now getting these taglines, I would have expected them to come out with a bang. I don't want to hear about your girls and you grounding people or your oak tree. And Shamea, girl, I love you. And I know you're holding a peach this season and I'm happy, but I don't need to hear about that. Like, come with something a little bit more original. You know what I'm saying? In the opening scene, Britt and Mike are in their kitchen. They're waiting for the in-laws to come over. And Britt is explaining that she was a video vixen in high school. And she's been lit since day one, honey. Now, girl, I'm just wondering, was this like senior year? Was it junior year? Were you 17? Were you 18? Because what you're claiming to be a vixen while you were in high school, you're saying a lot without really saying much at all, but you're saying a lot. Britt has dated some rappers, some ballers, some shot callers, but when it came to becoming a wife, she definitely wanted to settle with the man who was husband light. So the producers are asking if it's true that she dated Ricky Rose. And she says that she dated Rose, but that was a whole nother life. And that the 3 years she's been with Mike have been the best 3 years of her life. Mike was reserved, understated, the opposite of what she got when she was dating the rappers and the ballers and the shot callers. And he definitely seems like husband material. So all the in-laws come in. And Ruben, Britt's personal assistant, gets them all settled in at the dinner table, and they're having seafood. So the lobster tails are flowing, the scallops are scalloping and whatnot. And Britt's sister-in-law, Natasha, asked about Shamea's birthday party. Now, y'all, I know that the birthday party just happened episode 1 and a little bit of episode 2, and we're in episode 3. But I am already tired of everybody talking about this party again. The party is over. We fought, we cried, we laughed, we threw shade, we cussed each other out, we all jumped in the pool, ate cake, the end. Like, let's move on a little bit from this birthday party, or let's like get a couple more episodes into the season before we have to go back and revisit this party again. Britt says all the girls are cool, but Kenya rubbed her the absolute wrong way, and that ring comment was a no-no. Now, she don't want no problems with Kenya, but she needs to keep it cute. Natasha asked about Britt and Mike's baby making plans, and Mike says he wants one like tomorrow or yesterday. And Britt says, and I want the wedding ceremony like tomorrow or yesterday. Mike doesn't want to talk about it over the meal. So it could have been that meal, tomorrow's meal, yesterday's meal, next week's meal. He just ain't trying to talk about it at all. He's trying to skate right on past that topic. So on that note, Britt says, Natasha, come on down to the cellar with me and get some more wine. So they go on down to the cellar, and baby, that cellar, I could stay in all day long. It's set up like a sitting area slash sitting room slash family room. There's wine, there's comfy couches. It's all nice and cozy. And that's me all day long, y'all. All day. I'd be down there after work, on the weekends, child, maybe even before work. And the way this world is turning these days, I may just live down there. I may not even come back up. Britt starts talking about her dad, and y'all, this really touched me. He was huge in the mortgage industry, and he had a $2 million life insurance policy for Britt's mom, but she didn't get a dime of it because he was transitioning from one job to another at the time of his passing. This is what prompted Britt to get into the insurance business. She had to set up a GoFundMe to raise money for her dad's services, and it really, really broke her heart. It was one of the hardest things she ever had to go through, and she didn't want anybody else to have to go through that. So, y'all, I could do a whole story time over my experience with losing my father. My father passed away almost 3 years ago next month. I also never, ever saw myself getting into the health industry in any kind of capacity. But I did end up getting into it. I ended up getting into the insurance side of it. And it really helped me with being able to help my parents navigate through their insurance when they got older. So I can definitely relate to Britt deciding to pivot in her career and get into the insurance industry. Britt has two sisters, Cher and Tiara, and she brought them into her business. Now, she says that things got ugly when she had to sell her father's company. But the sisters and the family and the business just wasn't quite working out the way that she had hoped. The oldest sister said that Britt was too bossy, so she decided to bounce. The middle sister got too comfortable with the family dynamic and the business, so Britt had to let her go. Britt is really hoping that one day they'll be able to reconcile their relationship because she really does miss her sisters. Scene 2. Porsha and Kelly meet up at Lock and Key, and Porsha pulls up first, looking fabulous as ever in her green floral Dolce two-piece. She orders a Hennessy margarita with strawberries, and damn if that don't sound good, but Hennessy is Porsha's thing, has been since we've known her. Kelly pulls up next, and she and Porsha sit down, they order. Porsha says that she's been refraining from drinking, but this drink is going to help her stay grounded if Kelly pops off. Porsha is optimistic about Kelly coming into this, having some common sense, but common sense ain't really all that common, if y'all know. Prior to this meetup, Kelly reached out to Porsha to invite Porsha and PJ to this Mommy and Me event that she's throwing at Balmain. They're both mothers, and so Kelly wants to connect with Porsha on that level. They share that commonality. Porsha says Kelly is giving put-off energy, and that she has different personalities that all start with the letter L. Loud, loudest, louder. Kelly says, yeah, but you have different personalities too, so what else is going on? They both agree that as women, they share commonalities, and they both want to try to connect on that. Then they revisit the birthday party, and they try to clear the air about that. But then Kelly brings up when she and Shamea and Britt met up for drinks, and says that Shamea got the story all twisted when she came back to Porsha and told her that they were asking about how Simon and Porsha got together. The food comes out, and Kelly orders some catfish, and that catfish was looking good as hell. It was looking real, real good, y'all. Like, it made me hungry. Porsha does not believe that Shamea would embellish what was said to her and would not set Porsha up for a fight for no reason. So she says, nah, bitch, I believe Shamea, but I digress. We can agree to disagree. When they started off this conversation, Porsha was calling Kelly a troll, but now they're laughing it up like they're good friends. And Porsha says, you know, I called you a troll, but now you're my treasure troll. Kelly says, well, which one? Poppy? Better be Poppy because she's the cutest one. Y'all, not them up here talking about treasure trolls. What the hell's going on here? Scene 3. Dropping It with Drew is at the studio. The producers are there asking if she's good, and she says that she's been in Puerto Rico shooting a horror movie where all she did was scream the whole time. So, y'all, I'm looking at the setup for this scene, and I'm thinking, if these damn producers aren't producing the hell out of this scene. Drew was up there fake singing over one of the tracks that she and Hot Dog Man Dennis created while they were sharing emotions with one another about Ralph and Porsha. Y'all, I guess. I guess. She's already laid the track down, so what are we doing here? Some of the girls stopped by to check Drew out and see what hot new tracks she's fake singing over. Angela Oakley, Kenya, and Cynthia enter as Drew is exiting the booth. So they all sit down and kiki. Cynthia tells Drew it was a beautiful song that she just sang about she and Ralph. Drew says she kind of retreated back into her shell behind this divorce from Wreck-It Ralph. And Cynthia says she could relate because she did the same thing with her divorce from Mike Hill. But it was a little bit different because the divorce with Mike wasn't really all out on social media like Drew's divorce from Ralph. Kenya asks, where's Dennis? Isn't he supposed to be here, or is he at the hot dog shop spreading it like mustard? And Drew offers them some champagne, trying to avoid the question. Cynthia falls for the okie doke. She's like, oh yeah, let's pop some bottles. I want some champagne. So y'all, I had a friend who got very easily distracted and sidetracked when we were having a conversation or when we were out at lunch, and it got annoying as hell. So, and she couldn't help it, but we had to come up with a code word for her when she would lose focus. So we came up with the phrase shiny things to kind of snap her back to get back on track to what we were doing. And y'all, this is giving me shiny things all day long. Like, come on, Cynthia. We are trying to get the tea and find out where Dennis is. So leave it to Kenya. She brings it right on back. If there's one thing Twirl is going to do, is twirl. So she twirls the conversation right back around to Dennis and says, answer this question. Drew says he's supposed to be there, but something came up. Like that conversation he had on the hot mic with Porsha in last week's episode. That's what came up. I see the play, girl. Drew does her Drew thing and speaks her truth. Now, not the truth, Drew's truth. And says that she and Dennis don't talk on the phone. Cut to them talking on the phone. I swear to God, Drew cannot tell the truth to save her life. She tries to shove this business relationship nonsense down our throats again and says, we're just friends, it's just business, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like everybody is on me. So Kenya calls her out and tells her to stop playing victim. She says you were dead ass wrong for trying to film with Dennis without asking. You needed to run it by Porsha. And Cynthia gives an example of the time when Leon, her ex and the father of their daughter Noelle, he filmed a scene for Kenya's scripted show called Life Twirls On. She says that because Kenya came to her first and asked out of respect if it was okay to film with Leon, Cynthia gladly gave Kenya her blessing. But this just seems to fly over Drew's head like everything else. So Drew pulls out her raggedy handwritten receipts. She sent a text to Porsha in January asking to talk about something with her. Then again in February, and she says she did it again in March, and Porsha slid her. Cynthia pulls out some common sense for Drew and says, now you know you should have just dialed her number and called Porsha. Sounds too much like right? Cynthia doesn't even check for Porsha like that, and even she was able to get up with her. Kenya says that now, because of the way Drew and Dennis have been moving, Drew is looking like a whore in these ATL streets. Not a whole child, but a whore, which is a million times worse, according to them. To me, it's all the same, but I digress. Now, as much as Drew irks my soul, I have to say that word whore was a little harsh. At this point, we don't really have any solid proof that Drew and Dennis are doing the do. All signs may point to yes, but this has not been substantiated. So all we're really going off of here are rumors, and Kenya is really trying to be a friend to Drew. But the word whore was a little bit much. So to change the subject, Angela announces that she met with Drew and Shamea for the workout session at the gym, but that went awry. She and Shamea had a tit for tat, and Shamea stormed out. Angela, I want to like you, I really do, but you're coming off a little dry and Drew-like. And I can see how Angela and Drew are friends because it seems like both of their sense of reality is very, very distorted. Drew claims, and I say claims because unless there are like 4 or 5 other people there to substantiate that what she's saying is the truth, to me, all it is a claim. But she claims that Porsha reached out the day after Shamea's party and asked to talk to her and smooth things over. So right now, that's where their relationship stands. Cynthia says, yeah, but I'm going to leave you with this. Baby daddies hit different, and she ain't never lied. Scene 4. So there were some very heartfelt moments happening here, y'all. We are back with my favorite this season, Shamea, and she enters this episode giving us more insight into some of her family's health struggles. She's at home chatting with her sisters in the living room. She says she's still on 1,000 from the party, but she's had a chance to unwind and get back to business. She went to Boston to address Shiloh's health concerns, and while she was there, she got a second opinion about her oldest daughter, Shia, because she was previously told that Shia needed to have her tonsils and adenoids removed. Now, she's very close with her family, and her sisters have been a huge support for her when Shiloh was in the hospital. There were some times when Shamea wasn't able to pick Shia up from school, and her oldest sister stepped in to help. Her middle sister, Glenda, suffers with lupus, and even she stepped up to be an emotional support. Y'all, I personally have a very, very, very close family member who is also living with lupus. And I see the toll it takes on them every single day. The body aches, the pains, having low energy at times, and very debilitating lupus flare-ups. So my heart really goes out to Shamea and her family because they have dealt with so much. Last year, the focus was on Shiloh and her health journey, but this year, Shamea experienced an ectopic pregnancy, and now Shia has to have surgery. So Shamea is very nervous. She's also talking to a surrogate about expanding her family, but isn't even really sure about what Shiloh's health journey looks like in the future. Shamea is drained, and I am drained for her. She says that she gets her strength from her mom and her sisters, but she often masks her own feelings and hides her emotions so that she can be a support for others. And I'm going to tell y'all what, from personal experience, you cannot ignore your own feelings because they will build, and eventually you'll get to a point where you can't ignore them anymore. And by the time you get to that point, you may become so overwhelmed, you won't be able to be there for anybody else. So you have to take care of you. You have to take care of you first before you can take care of anybody else. How can you pour into others when you're running on empty? You just can't. It's impossible. So Glenda asked how Gerald is feeling about everything. With the IVF journey, Shamea's estrogen levels rose so high, she became high risk for developing blood clots and for even potentially having a stroke. Gerald said if the IVF doesn't take, they'll cross that bridge when they get to it. Shamea is worried she won't have enough love to give. But Shamea, girl, I can see you. I can see your heart. You have more love to give than you even realize. Now, Shia's shown that she's been affected by everything that's happened because when Shamea has had to go to the hospital in the past, either for Shiloh or herself, Shia's told her, "No, let daddy go to the hospital. You stay with me." And I can only imagine how difficult it must be to see Shia being so affected. Shiloh, on the other hand, she's so young that she doesn't really understand or realize what she's been through. But that little baby girl is thriving. She is the happiest baby. Scene 5. Angela pulls up to the investment property number 3 in her Ford F-150 extended cab, y'all, rocking her purple Lululemon. Go ahead, Angela. Now, I'm not clowning because I have an F-150 left to me by my dad, and I absolutely love that truck with everything in my being. And it's got a lot of get up and go, so I'm not hating at all. Hell, I would actually like a F-250, to be honest with you. The bigger the better for me. The property is in Sandy Springs, and its estimated value is $850,000. Now, for the size and the amount of space it has, I'm going to say it's very fairly priced for today's market. It has 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and is 3,640 square feet. Now, y'all, here in Colorado, you'd get maybe half that square footage for that same price, depending on where you're at. There's little old shacks around here that have been standing up for 30 years plus, and they're going for $1 million. So I think that's a very, very good deal. Angela is carrying various packages and whatnot from the truck into the house when the hubby Charles pulls up and asks if she needs any help. Now, just like a man, he pulled up just after she got the heaviest items in the house. He's up there talking about, "Heavy? That looks light." Anywho, sir, if you don't get over here and help her get the rest of these packages out of that bed of the truck. Now, I guess at the time this scene was shot, the Oakleys had just purchased the property 9 months prior. So they're renovating it, and from what I can see, they've done an outstanding job. It is absolutely gorgeous on the inside. But the yard does need a little work. Charles is running through the house, turning on faucets, making sure the water is running. Charles has invested his money into these rental properties, and Angela's anxious to show him that he was right to trust her with the business. If she can make him a believer with this property, he'll be more apt into trusting her with future real estate endeavors. Angela starts talking with Charles about their vow renewal. In 2017, Charles attended a Knicks game in New York at Madison Square Garden, and the owner doesn't like Charles, so he had this man escorted out of the garden by security. He and Angela had just gotten married, and this incident really messed with Charles, so he needed to heal, and Angela said that she couldn't heal him. That affected the marriage, so they decided to live separately to try and work on the marriage from a distance. So for Angela, now that they're good, the vow renewal really represents where they're at in their relationship right now. So y'all, I have never lived with a man, and I'm 44, about to be 45. I don't think I'm gonna start now. I'm single, and I've been so independent for so long. I have my little routine down, and I have my way of doing things. I like things a certain way, and I just don't think I could permanently share living space with someone like that. I don't believe you have to be married or live with someone to have a committed relationship. The two don't necessarily coincide for me, and that could just be because of how I grew up. But I'll save that for a story time. Angela feels that because she and Charles have spent so much money on their investment properties, Charles is holding the vow renewal over her head until the properties sell and they turn a profit. One thing at a time. You gotta pace yourself. Angela says she's been talking to Wendy, her therapist, whom she spends $1,200 on a month. but she gladly spends it because she feels like it's needed for the sake of her marriage to Charles. And it'll help them make it to the next 10 years. And Charles is like, 10 years is a long time. Sir, I'm going to need you to stop playing with Angela. Scene 6. It's morning and Drew is at Elite Lawyer, which is the name of her attorney's office. Her lawyer, Tanya, walks out to the waiting area and ushers her back to the office. And what the F is Drew wearing? Now, I do love the suit in theory, but that faux corset piece hanging off the front of the right side of that jacket, what was the purpose of that? Give that secret right on back to Vicky because it's cheapening the entire look. That and that choker. Tanya and Drew get talking about she and Ralph's recent court hearing. Ralph acted as his own attorney. His attorney was not present. So they proceed with this hearing and he cross-examined Drew. Drew says she was thrown off. And after hearing this, I'm completely thrown off as well. Wreck-It Ralph has shown his ass in court and confirmed to Tanya that what Drew has been saying all this time about him being manipulative and controlling is true. They filed for divorce in February of 2023. So at this point in the show, they are a year and a half into the divorce. Tanya says that the goal was to get Ralph out of the damn house and to sell it, but because Ralph is broke, he told the judge he couldn't afford to pay on the existing house until it sold and pay rent on a studio apartment. So the judge's solution was to ban Wreck-It Ralph to the basement. Ralph was supposed to have turned over his financial documents and child, I don't know what he's showing him. He's given the attorney some documents, but baby, none of them were financial. He's given them his report card from the 2nd grade, his immunization records, his headshot, a drawing that he made of some trees in the forest. I mean, Ralph, where are the bank documents? Where are your tax documents? At Cousin Courtney's house? Oh, okay. Well, run them. And I hate to be in defense of Drew about any damn thing because the girl really, really irks my soul. But Ralph is a dirty low-down dog with a future ex-wife with a wig on. Shout out to Go Naked Hair. He had all access to Drew's money, but won't show what's up with his, which is holding the divorce up. Very controlling, very manipulative. Drew needed this divorce to be done like yesterday so she and Dennis can stop downplaying the love that they have for each other and can show it to the world. Tanya says the court documents are currently sealed. However, the judge has reviewed the filing and has decided to unseal them. So when that happens, everything will be out there for all to look up and read. All about his infidelity, the sexting, other women sending texts to Drew, and how he's been tracking Drew's whereabouts like a damn stalker. Drew starts crying and she says how scary all of this is, and she's concerned about how this will affect her kids. Well, that is a very valid concern because this whole thing with Wreck-It Ralph is more than messy. Scene 7. It's surgery day for Shia, and Shamea and Shia step out the front door of Sterling Hall and hop into Shamea's new car to head to the surgery center for Shia's tonsillectomy. Princess Shia has on this beautiful little navy blue princess dress, matching accessories. She's got the little blue ring on and the doctor's exam coat with the blue medical emblem on it. She's just looking so adorable. And she is excited, y'all. She is ready for this surgery. It's her first surgery. And baby girl, I really hope there won't be too many more of those in your lifetime. Although it seems fun and exciting now, and you get all the attention on you, surgery is hard on the body. So this is a routine surgery, and hopefully that's all that Shia will ever have to have. So Shamea is a nervous mess, but she's holding it together for Shia. So they pull up to the facility and Shia sees her surgeon and she's all smiles and starts waving. Dr. Harmon, her surgeon, opens the car door and says, "What's up, girl? Are you ready?" And Shia says, "Yeah." Cut to Shamea's home video shot at the facility while Shia is in surgery. They had just wheeled her back about 20 minutes ago, and Gerald is there, and Shamea says he has not sat down yet. He's quote unquote stretching, y'all. Gerald reminds me so much of my dad in this moment. My dad could not stand when I had to get a booster shot, much less surgery. When I had to get my first IV, I think I was about 9 or 10 years old, and baby, it was a mess. I was crying, my dad was bawling, and he just broke all the way down. I'm telling you right now, these fathers who are there and present, they cannot stand seeing their kids suffer in any kind of way. And with the girls, it's like a million times worse. Scene 8. Porsha and Mama Porsha, aka Miss Diane, pull up to Massage Heights. They walk in, get checked in, and sit down to wait to get called back for their treatments. Miss Diane is looking at her feet and says they're dry, but they'll pass. Porsha feels them and says, they'll put some lotion on them and soften them right on up. Porsha's looking at her feet like, did I even put lotion on? And Miss Diane says, it don't look like it. And she should know in this moment. Hi, Ashy. Hi, Ashy. Not bye, Ashy. Hi, Ashy. The ladies get called back just in the nick of time before them feet can get any drier because they were dry. Miss Diane has been a huge support for Porsha during this divorce. She's served as a prayer partner, a confidant, and she's just really been there for her daughter. She's been practicing meditation just to try and relax herself from everything that's been going on, and these massages are really the only thing that's been helping. This divorce has been a stark contrast to her previous divorce from Cordell. She was able to communicate with Cordell throughout that whole process, but with Simon, there's been no communication at all. And he's been showing himself to be a different person from the man that Porsha married. So Miss Diane says that she always saw Simon as Porsha's protector, but now he's just leaving her all out here by herself during this process. Porsha says that in Simon's culture, it's customary to go to the family to try to help get some support and guidance to try to help the couple navigate these types of situations. But when Porsha reached out to his family, they just pretty much said they didn't want to have anything to do with it. So now Porsha pivots and tells Miss Diane about her outing with Shamea at the strip club and how Shamea was trying to help her feel better, so thought that she needed to get out the house. And Porsha was using this to test the waters to see how far she was coming along with her healing. When Shamea brought up the conversation she had with Britt and Kelly when they went out for Titty Tuesday, Porsha realized that she was not as far along in her healing as maybe she thought she was, because nothing about this little petty gossip was fun. And certainly not when the petty gossip has to do with her and her life. So Miss Diane says, how was this conducive to you having a good time? You got to watch the dog that brings the bone back to you, i.e. Sheree and her bone collecting tenure on the show. Mama Porsha feels Shamea was being messy in this moment and didn't have Porsha's best interest at heart. Now, I feel what Miss Diane is saying. It can appear to be that Shamea is being messy, but it's all about the intention here. And from my lens, Shamea wasn't trying to start a mess at all. She was really caught up in a tough position because now everything is being filmed for the show. There are cameras all over the place. So at some point in time, Porsha was going to see this conversation, and how would it have looked? We all know how Porsha is about optics at this point, and that would have been the absolute wrong optic had it come out 6 months, a year later, and Porsha not known anything about it. Shamea maybe could have waited until Porsha was in a better place, head-wise, in a better headspace, if this was not being filmed. But it's being filmed. So I get Shamea wanting to tell Porsha before it got around town and it got back to Porsha from somebody who wasn't her actual friend. Porsha acknowledges the spot that Shamea was put in, and so she and Miss Diane just come to the conclusion that it is what it is. Scene 9. Shia and Shamea return home from surgery and they FaceTime Porsha so Shia can show her that she had her tonsils removed. And Portia's so sweet to Shia in this moment. She says, "Oh, you're one of the special ones." Y'all, maybe it's just a kid thing, but when I was Shia's age, around 5 or so, and I saw all my little friends getting their tonsils taken out or staying home because they have the chicken pox or the measles or whatever, I wanted all of it. All of it, good, bad, or ugly, I wanted it all. I just wanted to stay home from school and eat ice cream and have all the attention on me. And that never happened. I still have my tonsils, never got the chicken pox, never got any childhood illnesses like that. So I missed out, I guess. But now I get to go through perimenopause and I get to experience all the joy it brings. The hot flashes, the night sweats, the crying one minute and raging the next. Yes, y'all, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful experience. Anywho, all of the ladies are getting primed and proper for Kelly's event, and Kelly tells us that this event is to help raise money and bring more awareness to a medical condition called osteogenic imperfecta, aka brittle bone syndrome. If you've ever seen the movie Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson, then you know that Sam Jackson played a supervillain named Mr. Glass. And he adapted that name from the condition he suffered from that caused him to sustain many broken bone injuries. And that condition is called osteogenic imperfecta. Kelly has shut down Beaumont for this event. And at this event, we see a mimosa bar, a beautiful flower bar, Beaumont fashions and bags all over the place for sale. And Kelly's trying to raise this money, baby. Twirl and Brooklyn arrive in matching floral dresses. Angela and her daughter arrive. There's champagne for the ladies and sparkling cider for the little ladies. Porsha and baby Porsha arrive in matching fits and hair as well. And Kenya and Porsha get to chatting. Porsha mentions that she and Drew share the same makeup artist, and he was doing both of them for this event. So he was at Drew's place getting her ready. He mentioned to Drew that he was on his way to Porsha to get her together when he was done there. And well, it was at that point that Drew needed some extra attention because she slowed that man all the way down and only left him 15 minutes to get Porsha's face together. Ooh, the pettiness. Y'all, Drew is not all sugar and spice and everything nice. Drew is not innocent, and I can tell that she can get down lower than low if she feels so compelled to. And it don't take a lot. And I see the play, Drew. I see you. Cynthia walks in with her Sonny Bono wig, child. But I was loving her beautifully tailored floral pantsuit number. Britt arrives with her little one looking like the ATL Balmain Barbie. All of the ladies were looking beautiful and put together. Now, some were a little bit more put together than others, but still, they all looked nice. I really loved Kelly's black and white two-piece halter top and skirt with that hair and the red rose detail in her hair, coordinated with those heels and the little red rose accent on the top of those heels. It's giving Carmen / pinup. Retro chic, and I'm here for it all. Cynthia sits with Porsha and they get to talking about the divorce. And Porsha says that she trusted Simon and he was around PJ. So she loved him, she trusted him, but he has just turned into a complete monster. And Cynthia tells Porsha, don't feel like you have to have it all together right now. Like, give yourself some space, give yourself some time, be gentle with yourself. There will be good and bad days. My favorite, Shamea walks in with baby Shiloh, decked out in all white, looking fabulous as usual. And Shamea, those earrings, darling, give me, give me, give me. I loves me a good drop hoop, and baby, those things are dropping it and hooping it and glistening all the live long day. Those stones were pinging, honey. I loved them. Angela says she and Shamea got off on the wrong foot at the gym and she hopes they can try again and that Shamea is receptive. Clearly, Shamea is not. Shamea says Angela came to her party with a retro nose. Not a retro nose, y'all. Not a retro nose. Not the Michael LaToya nose special. And then in Shamea's confessional, this woman tucked and sucked her nostrils in and tightened those lips up to give her portrayal of how Angela was looking at her party and even this party. Shamea can get down with the get down too now, and she admits that that was petty, but she feels slighted by how Angela came at her at the gym. And when she invited Angela and her husband to her home to drink her drinks and eat her food, and then you come at Shamea being ugly at the gym, Shamea said, I have nothing for you. So the MC takes the mic and gives a little introduction and talks about what the purpose of this event is. Then she hands the mic to Kelly. Kelly takes the stage to talk more about the OI Foundation and shares her personal experience learning of her daughter's OI diagnosis. Now, Kelly has 4 girls and 3 out of the 4 daughters all have OI. Her 12-year-old Chance was diagnosed at 6 weeks after Kelly noticed there was something wrong with her arm. Kelly's mom took Kelly and Chance to the hospital, and the next thing Kelly knows, the police and CPS have arrived, and they're thinking Kelly was responsible for Chance's arm. They thought that Kelly had abused Chance. So she was stuck in Baltimore for over a month. She needed to have Chance diagnosed properly, and she needed to clear her name from the abuse allegations that CPS was trying to bring up on her. Again, y'all, when it comes to the health and welfare of Black Americans, we're always told we over-exaggerate our symptoms, or in a situation like this, we are accused of abusing our own children. Our ailments or conditions go undiagnosed or misdiagnosed simply because of the melanin in our skin and nothing more. I'm going to have to do a separate story time about some of my experiences, y'all, because I swear it's so unreal what we have to deal with when it comes to our medical care. So after this transparent, vulnerable, touching moment shared by Kelly in this scene, good old Drop It by Drew arrives with her kid crew. Kenya asks if she's spoken with Porsha. Drew says now, if I bump into her naturally, then I'll address it, but I'm not going to force anything. Angela speaks to Shamea and says that they got off on a wrong foot, but that's not the temperature of the room she typically likes to operate in. And Shamea agrees. So Angela wants to have a one-on-one conversation with Shamea to clear the air. Shamea says, I'd love to meet Angela and not Drew's representative. And Angela says, oh no, baby, that was me. That was Angela. Shamea says, oh, so you speak on Drew's behalf. And Angela says, yep, I sure do. And at that point, Shamea was checked out. She says, your feelings are your feelings and mine are mine, and I'm good on you. And then she tries to walk away. So Angela says, oh, well, be nice then. Girl, what do you mean be nice? Shamea is walking away in this moment. She is trying to be nice and not have any more drama. What the fuck? You called her Porsha's assistant at the gym, but now you expect Shamea to forgive and forget and move on when you're up here being Drew's assistant? Girl, bye. You got it all the way effed up. Insults get to flying. Angela calls Shamea Shamina because it flows with her name. Shamina tells LaToya Jackson to step off with her throwback 90s nose, and Angela goes from Shamina to calling Shamea Flavor Flav. Kelly steps in to diffuse the situation, and Shamea is asking folks for crazy glue so Angela can glue the corners of her nostrils back down. And Angela tells Shamea to get her natural nose out of Porsha's ass. Kelly is steady pushing product. She's trying to raise this money, honey. She is on a mission. Porsha comes over to Shamea and says, they said you're talking about people's physical appearance. And Shamea says, well, she called me Flavor Flav. And yes, I was Flavor Flav for Halloween, but I didn't know Angela was arriving to Balmain today as LaToya Jackson. Now, y'all know what? Angela gives me a little bit of Marlo. I don't know if y'all can see it or if it's just me, but I am getting a little bit of Marlo from Angela and LaToya Jackson. So that's crazy. After that drama dies down, Shamea walks over to Drew and apologizes to her if she embarrassed her at the gym because that wasn't her intention. And Shamea, you didn't start none. You just ended it. So why apologize? You didn't go there for all of that. It was brought to you. And if only you knew what Drew said in her confessional about you being a lapdog for Porsha, I highly doubt that apology would have ever even happened. And Drew would have gotten some of what Angela did. So it's been a long day. The girls spent about $30,000. All of the proceeds are going back to the OI Foundation. The kids are hungry, so things are about to wrap up until Drew dropped it and dropped some balls at the same time and decides to approach Porsha. She says, "So Porsha, you wanted to talk?" Porsha says, "Yeah, I wasn't feeling well this week, so let's do it next week." And Drew says, "Well, why not now?" Again, bitch, time and place. Time and place. Drew, you are dense, but you are not that damn dense. So Porsha is like, the audacity. And where the hell is this coming from? Because we all know Drew wouldn't bust a grape with a bulldozer under normal circumstances. Porsha turns around and boom, we all see the bulldozer. Drew's sister Allison is there acting as Drew's muscle this day. And now Drew is feeling froggy. But we all know Drew is not finna jump. So Drew says, "You want to talk, then you don't want to talk. But she can come to the studio and talk, and we can put it in a song." Drew, you and your auto-tune and Dennis and his nursery rhymes he be writing could never. And that was the end of the episode. So y'all, in the preview for next week's episode, it looks like Britt is going off on somebody. And y'all, we know that Britt and Kenya have a big issue this upcoming season. So I'm wondering, are we going to get some good shit next week? Are we going to see some drama pop off with Kenya and Britt? I am really, really looking forward to it. I am still hopeful about this season. This episode was good. It didn't, come in as strong as the first episode or even last week's episode for me, but it was still pretty good. I hope they keep their energy as strong as they did when the season first started, because again, y'all, we waited so long for this franchise to come back. It was very highly anticipated. I know I've seen some things come out saying that the first episode of this season was the lowest rated episode ever. I really hope they turn it around because these girls, they deserve it. They deserve it. And I am enjoying it so far. So y'all, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Again, if you dig this video, please don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. This is the best way and a free way for you to support my channel and its growth. As always, y'all, stay safe, stay blessed, and don't forget to tell somebody that you love them today, even if it's just yourself, because that counts for a lot. Until next time, love y'all.